Well, good day, everybody. You're watching Beyond the Test Drive on this very foggy, dreary day. This is an appropriate day to fill this 2024 Hyundai Palisade because this has pretty much been the weather this week, and we have been putting this puppy through the duties with people hauling, rainy weather, throwing stuff in the back because we had a big wedding event in the Beyond family. We had guests in from out of town, and this has been the perfect wedding vehicle in this wedding white. Actually, it's hyper white. This is the top trim. This is a Calligraphy Night edition. You know all about the Telluride and the Palisade. This one's more stately, a little bit more classic looking. The only place they really go a little crazy Hyundai-like is on the front end. You have your headlights down here and your running DRLs, turn signals. Pretty bold styling, but everywhere else on this is your classic big box design. They black out some cool stuff, and like the front grille, they give you these really nice black, all black wheels, black roof rails, but then they leave some chrome here, so it's not all blacked out. The one place I do like this, blacked out Hyundai logo and the Palisade. Again, you can see the dirt on this puppy after a week of this kind of weather. Behind this third row, you get usable cargo volume. I'll put the numbers up there for this, and you also get some nice storage below here. You see, throwing some trash there. And down below, you do get a donut spare tire. Now, one of the selling points, I think, when people go into the showroom is these power third row dropped seats, but I'm not that patient of a person, and waiting for these this week has been annoying. I just rather have a strap, throw them down, have a strap, pull them up. But again, I think folks go into the showroom and they go, oh, power, that's so cool. Now, the one thing Hyundai does do good is dropping these second row seats. Now, third row seating in 3-row SUVs is always hit or miss. You can hit the button down here, and that's your sort of entry. And again, we've had lots of people back here this week. Not too many of them are going to complain about the third row seating. These are really high, but this is a 7-passenger configuration. Lower trims let you do a bench here, which I still think is more useful, but you do get that walk through. Plenty of leg room, plenty of width back here, cup holders, USB-Cs. This top trim has heated and cooled front seats, heated and cooled middle row, and these back row are heated. It's just crazy. And you can also recline. Okay, just to get out, you just hit that button there. Bingo. Thumbs up Hyundai. Easy entry and exit out of this third row. Okay, hanging out in this second row, get these height adjustable armrests. Again, got some compliments over the second row seats. Also, you get a little phone holder there, seat pockets both sides, and you get a USB-C right there. Again, everybody has loved that this week. This is a great place to just talk about interior styling in general. If I cover up that Hyundai badge and I take a picture of this and I give it to somebody 5 years ago, they're gonna say, that's gotta be a German car. There's no way this is a Hyundai. And I think of all the interiors in the Hyundai lineup, this one just hits for just aesthetic classiness. This hits a home run. Good choice of materials, good visuals, just really high-end premium look. I will admit I'm getting a little over the all black theme this week. I would like a little bit lighter colors and contrast, but it's very stoic, very German. Hyundai has out-Germaned the Germans. You have lumbar on your passenger seat, front and back power adjustments there. I should point out some storage things here. You do get this little pass-through. It's kind of useful, I think, you know, for those who are carrying a purse or something big. It's a good place to store it. Down here you get that 12-volt DC, and you also get another USB-C there, and a good-sized glove compartment. But back over here to the driver's seat, so a lot of bells and whistles here. We do get a thigh extension for those with longer legs, front and back, and you get adjustable bolsters here, and you get 4-way lumbar, up, down, in, and out, and you get this crazy sort of pseudo massage feature where it'll systematically go through all the different adjustments. Not really a massage, but it does move the seat around to keep those pressure points changing. Now let me go ahead and get to one of my first gripes, and there aren't a lot, is that when you go up to the night trim, you lose the leather and you get sort of this, I guess some folks would consider it an upgrade, this suede material. I don't like it, and I'll just be honest about that. I want leather, and this just feels like just regular old fabric. It just shows dirt all week. I actually cleaned it up a little bit this morning, but not a fan of this on your highest trim. But let me know what you think. Weigh in below just on styling, your thoughts on everything interior, exterior wise. But let's go ahead and hop in. I really like how this is laid out. You do have all of your secondary heating and cooling features here with your seat and your steering wheel, so laid out really well there. You do have this push button automatic. Not a fan, but I agree that it's laid out well right here. You do have your auto hold when you're in traffic, so you can let off that parking, I'll let off that foot brake there. You do have all your drive modes here, and if you look down at the digital instrument cluster, you'll see they switch really fast. This is something you don't see on everybody's car. It just takes a while, but not Hyundai. They've got this down, and every instrument, every variation looks pretty good. The Sport, you get that nice sporty sort of red color there. You'll also have sort of a pseudo center differential lock for this H-Track all-wheel drive system. Over here you have hill descent. You can do your stop-start system on the engine. When it stops and starts, it's pretty unnoticeable. Here you can get into your backup camera and your surround view camera, as you can see right here. And then you get your buttons for all of your HVAC control here. This is dual zone. Hyundai gives you 3 levels of fan speed for your auto climate. When you move up into your infotainment system, I'm not going to go through this system in too much detail. However, there's a lot here. It's really quick. The touchscreen works really well. And there's a lot in these menus. There's a lot to play with here. But in general, everything works pretty easy as far as the touchscreen. One of the surprising things this week is I do not have wireless CarPlay. As you can see, once I pop up CarPlay, again, wired, not wireless, it's easy to get to and move around. You still get some key buttons along the bottom here for just getting to quick things easy. Changing your track setup, you can favorite a bunch of items there. You do have a nice volume, clicky volume knob right here, which is nice. And if you're tuning the radio, you can use this over here. Cup holder wise, you get these push button guys here. Yeah, I do have a wireless charger down here. This has worked pretty well. And then I can push this and close that. So keep everything nice and neat here, but you're generally gonna drive it around just like this. And a big old center depth here. Another USB-C, 12 volts all over the place, because here's another one there. Over on the steering wheel, very nice meaty steering wheel. So big thumbs up that everything here feels good. It's easy to use. One thing I will point out that I really have liked is the fact when I start putzing with my wipers, they tell me in the screen down here. All the automakers should do something like that. So when I turn my wipers on, whether they're on auto, rain sensing, low, high, again, it's a little touch, but I've enjoyed that, because most cars I'm looking down going, what mode am I in? Am I in auto? When I'm controlling my rears, are my rears on or not? Paddle shifters, which you're not going to use unless you're doing some hill descent control. Other little nits here is that when you put it in park right there, but if you want to add the parking brake, you got to go over here. Oh, and again, we do have that rear sunroof. This front one will open. It's not the biggest opening, but it does let some extra air in here. And you also have a digital rear view mirror. Again, when you got a lot of passengers and junk in the back, again, this week, this has come in pretty handy. Okay, no turbochargers here. Hood struts. So Honda and Hyundai are holding strong on keeping just your basic V6. This is a 3.8 liter V6, gas directed injected. Again, no turbochargers here. 290-ish horsepower, 280 some pound-feet of torque, holding the fort on just regular old naturally aspirated V6, and this thing is smooth and extremely quiet. So this has been a nice surprise this week, is just how quiet of power delivery this V6 provides. Even idling, it's quiet and smooth. Check your oil here. Another thing you gotta love about Kia and Hyundai is just little things like changing your air filter, how they make that so easy. All right, let's get this out for a drive. First thing I want to do today is just give you guys a big hearty thank you for pressing play today. We know you have a lot of choices in what automotive content you watch on YouTube, so we really appreciate you joining us today. If you're new here and not a subscriber, check out all of our content. If you like what you see, we would love for you to subscribe and come along for the ride. One thing with Hyundai, again, we need people to comment who own these or any other Hyundai about their dealership experience, about their warranty experience, because it's really hard to argue with that 5-year 60,000 mile bumper to bumper and a 10-year powertrain. Again, I've heard horror stories about people actually getting service, but I don't own a Hyundai. I've never had one. I've never had a Kia. That's why we need you guys to weigh in. Now, getting into pricing again, that's one of the reasons that this checks another box, which is just value. Pretty much shop for your budget. You'll be pretty satisfied with the features you get regardless of which one of these you pick. Now, this does start out with a base model 2-wheel drive SE at $36,800. Oh, I should mention that these are 2025 prices, but most people are going to start with the SEL all-wheel drive, which is coming in at $41,550. There is that rugged XRT, which is more of an appearance package at $44,650 with all-wheel drive. I do like the wheels on that. And then you start getting into some luxury features with the SEL Premium and the limited trim, and then you just kind of do it all up with the calligraphy trim that we're driving today. Now, if you like the smoothness, the classic smoothness of a V6, Hyundai has you covered here. The linear power delivery of this 3.8 is on, it's spot on. So let's go ahead and do our uphill dig. You really don't even hear this engine until above 4,000 RPM. That's when that power does start to peak out in that 4,000 or 5,000 RPM range, but it is so smooth and quiet. They have isolated this engine. You got a turbocharged 4-cylinder world out there, and Hyundai's giving you this 3.8, and it's very smooth. So what helps this car out a lot is it's 4,600 pounds, and that's for a very large 3-row. So when you get this loaded full of people, you kind of start feeling it being down a little bit on the torque. Starting from the ground up, ride quality, excellent. Again, if you're buying and you're looking for something that just gives your passengers a very smooth ride over bumps. Now, the trade-off to that great ride comfort is what I would call confident but very uninspiring handling. Maybe that's the best way to describe it. That H-Track will send power to those rear wheels when it thinks it needs it. So, you know, it's pretty decent to hustle. The trade-off, though, is even at moderate speeds like this, taking turns, even though the steering is really good and accurate around here, your passengers' heads are going to bob. My head bobs. Let's go ahead and do a 0 to 60. I'm going to go ahead and turn off traction control. I will put it over into sport. Let me go ahead and brake torque this to 3,000 or 2,000. Here we go. $60. All right. I don't know what that was. It's plenty peppy. Now I'll leave it in sport mode because it does liven up that throttle quite a bit. It will hold gears longer. The steering does stiffen up. That's about it though. But you do notice a difference when you put this over into sport mode as far as the, you know, just general response of the car. The tip in on the throttle is tuned quite differently to get into it faster. Now, transmission-wise, this 8-speed, torque converted, automatic, I have been pretty happy with it this week. Now, upshifts are generally pretty smooth. Let's go back to, well, let's just put it back in what's called smart mode. Like I said, upshifts are pretty good. The only place I find this transmission sluggish is when you say, you know, let's just slow down here a little bit and hit it. All right, that took a little bit of time, but as you can see, those upshifts are pretty snappy. Steering is weighted really well. I mean, again, this is for going about the daily life of a 3-row, and it's weighted pretty good. It's not overly boosted. Oh, we're just roly-poly here. But yeah, the upshifts are pretty snappy. Again, it's only those downshifts where it gets a little confused. And you'll see out on the highway, well, I'll go ahead and mention this. Out on the highway, this 8-speed, when it will downshift and hunt for gears a little bit when it's going up and over, like what I would consider not very challenging highway grades. But again, that's that 8th gear is geared pretty high. And yeah, so you'll see a little bit of hunting on the automatic. But all right, here we go on the brakes. Oh, pretty good. No real concerns with the braking this week. It is a pretty mushy pedal, and if you follow my channel at all, you know I do not like mushy brake pedals. But it's pretty linear. Again, stopping power is adequate and perfect for, again, what this car is intended to be. Okay, up onto the highway. Palisade. Once I started driving Palisades around, I always noticed the Tellurides. I can't tell you I've ever really noticed a Palisade, but this week they're everywhere. You just have to be on the lookout for them. Again, it has to do with that styling that they've chosen here. Let's see. So out here on the highway, I have the cruise control set. This also has a really good sort of semi-autonomous centering, lane centering. I have that engaged right now. It's gonna kind of negotiate me around this turn here. Oh, it's gonna yell at me, and this guy's driving down the middle with his flashers on for some strange reason. Yeah, so I have the cruise control. It's just a 1-button push to turn it on or off. If you turn it on, it will set right to that speed. If I want to increase my speed, just right here on the button. I do have a nice heads-up display here. And I measured 67 dBs at 70 miles per hour. You can see I'm turning just shy of 2,000 RPMs. Really quiet. This is a really hushed, quiet highway cruiser. Does great out on the highway, and that's really where you're going to want to take this. You're going to want to load it up, throw your family in here, and take that road trip. We do have that Harman Kardon multi-speaker, whatever. It's pretty good. It's decent. It's what you'd expect. Again, when you talk about the price of this, everything is, you're just not going to complain about too much. All right, it's yelling at me again. All right, let me slow down here to 50. And we'll do 55. And punch it. Okay. Yeah, out here on the highway, like doing what I just did there, that's where you're gonna kind of notice the weight of this and that less than 300 horsepower and those torque numbers. All right, let's just talk about fuel economy. That's one area that this is just average. It's showing 21.3 on the trip computer. I have no reason to believe that that's not true. We have put a couple of tanks of gas into this week, probably gone over 400 to 500 miles doing stuff like this, little highway jaunts, running errands, and that's right around where the EPA says it should be. 24 out on the highway. Hyundai does have their full safety suite, you know, just everything you could want. Again, all the manufacturers are really stepping up there. So again, but Hyundai's always been out in front for offering, you know, the most safety features for the dollar. Now, as far as competition goes, you have tons of choices in this 3-row class of vehicle. a lot of new things out too. You have, last year you've had Mazda CX-90. This year you have the Chevy Traverse, a new Honda Pilot's out there. You have the stalwart, you have the Toyota Grand Highlander. So you have a lot of choices, and they're all pretty good. You also have the new 2025 Ford Explorer. Again, they've all got better. This is a really good crop of 3 rows that you can select from. Now, as far as space and value though, it's really hard to argue against this Palisade. The consumer always speaks. The Telluride for Kia, this Palisade for Hyundai, they are hot sellers, and there's a reason why. Even though this feels like the value leader in this segment as far as what you get for your dollar, there's no compromise as far as just premium feel, premium looks. Now, another thing to keep in mind is if you do plan on towing with your 3-row SUV, this one's rated for 5,000 pounds, so keep that in mind as you are shopping. There are some higher numbers out amongst the competition. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Ask us anything, and we would love to answer them and get the dialogue going. Again, thanks for coming along today, and as always, have a great day, morning or evening, wherever you may be.